Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Happy Monday. You know what time it is. It's time for a team meeting.
It's time.
Yeah. And the subject for today is going to be what to do with your new enrollments.
Let's talk about it.
Totally.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Are you ready, Freddie?
I'm ready for this.
Okay. So why don't you start it off today?
Sure. So it all comes down to these 3 steps after you
Ooh.
enroll somebody.
That's pretty hard to remember 3 steps.
I know. Let's get into the first one.
Yeah.
So introduce them to your upline support. If we've said it once, we've said it many times. We have how many resources available to them?
Oh, so many.
So many.
Yeah.
So introduce them to the upline support so they can get in contact with the resources that they need to kickstart their business.
Yeah.
The next one is take them to the My DiamondsR4Life portal. That one is very important, and Kate's going to take it from here.
Okay, so basically the My DiamondsR4Life portal will get them integrated into our systems with the welcome system that is integrated into the portal. So as you set your portal up, it takes you through a welcome system that gets you integrated into those systems that we have. And the portal is able to show them all of the tools and resources that they have access to on this team to build their business with.
Right. And that website is, I feel like that is like a really major key.
Oh, yeah.
Into staying on top of things.
Yeah.
There's
absolutely.
so many things within that website. That's just amazing.
Absolutely.
So the next thing is stay in contact with your new people. This is very important. And Caitlin will tell you why.
Yeah. So an easy way to make sure that you're staying in contact with your new enrollments, because I know sometimes when you get a new enrollment, it's hard to remember to stay in contact with them, especially if you're not in the habit of doing it yet.
Right.
So we have a tool here at DiamondsR4Life called the daily, weekly, and monthly checklist. And you're reminded to get in contact with your downline on each of these checklists that we have at those different intervals. And you can also find what we call maintenance messages in the My DiamondsR4Life portal that you can personalize and send to your new members and just to your downline, just to like give you some ideas of things that you could do to, stay in contact with them. But yeah, that's a good way to stay in contact with people, is to remember to do the checklist that we're always talking about.
Always. We will always remind you about those checklists.
Absolutely. So there's a type of enrollment that 4Life hands out to people who are active called an orphan. So if you've ever had somebody enroll underneath of you and you didn't know who they were, you hadn't had any contact with them before, we refer to them as orphans. So they can be like from 4Life enrolled as an orphan underneath of you, because how that happens is basically if you send someone to 4Life's website, 4life.com, and you don't give them your My Shop link, which would be 4life.com/your ID number. If they enroll on 4life.com, not your My Shop, they will be enrolled into 4Life as an orphan and just be placed under a random distributor. Right. So an orphan could be like that, or you could just have an enrollment that enrolls on your My Shop website that you've had no contact with before. Maybe you've been posting on social media. Maybe you've handed out some business cards, some marketing cards, laid out some booklets, different places, flyers up here and there. Maybe you've sent out postcards and it has your 4Life My Shop link on there, or you have one of the replicated websites from DiamondsR4Life or Professional Networkers on there, which is linked to your My Shop, and they went to that website and signed up without having any contact with you. Okay, so what are we going to do with those enrollments? The first thing is call and introduce yourself. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Yeah, that should be pretty easy. What's the next one?
Mail them a welcome letter or a postcard to make sure that they hear from you. Sometimes people have unknown phone numbers blocked on their phones.
Yeah.
So a simple way is to mail them something, sometimes in Word, you can like customize like a header on there and make it really nice and just customize it saying, hey, nice to meet you. Here's my number if you want to call me.
Yeah. And depending on when you're viewing this video, we are either developing currently right now or has already developed a whole package for affiliates in our team to utilize when they have a new enrollment, basically as a checklist and different resources they can use. And a welcome letter or a postcard is part of that package.
Yeah.
At this point in time, as this video is live recording, we are working on it. It's not released yet. However, we do have a welcome postcard in the DiamondsR4Life store.
Mm.
So if you go to the DiamondsR4Life store, there is a welcome postcard in the postcards category.
How exciting.
I know, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so we went through step 1, call and introduce yourself. Step 2, mail them something to introduce yourself as well, just to cover all of your bases. And then you also want to find out that person's goals, okay? Because that will help guide your interactions going forward.
Mhm.
If you're not familiar, everybody enrolls as a preferred customer in 4Life. So if you see a new preferred customer on there and you've had no contact with them, you don't know if they are just intending to be a product user. You don't know if they're intending to be a business builder. You don't know if they're intending to be both. So you kind of want to call them, find out why did they join 4Life, find out what goals that they hope to achieve in 4Life. And that will help you be a great team leader for them and give them resources to help support what their goals are and to achieve those goals. Yes. Yeah. So now you want to follow those same steps that we mentioned in the beginning. So once they enroll, you do those steps for just specific no contact people. So calling and introducing yourself, mailing them a welcome letter or postcard, finding out their goals. You also want to do the same steps we mentioned before. So introducing them to your upline support, taking them to the My DiamondsR4Life portal so they can see all the tools and resources that are available to them as they are building their business or even just being a product user. We do have a portal for product consumers so they can learn more about the products. And then you also want to stay in contact with them.
Right.
So what's the next part of this meeting?
All right. How to support your enrollments after they join.
Yes.
First thing is preparation.
Yes.
And there's this awesome quote
Mhm.
that I have wrote down: by failing to prepare, you're preparing to fail. So I do not want to fail to prepare,
Because then you're preparing to fail.
Yeah. So I don't want to do that. So I'm going to hand it back over to you so you can tell
Right.
us how
So,
not.
right. Yeah. So I'm going to tell you how to prepare for not failing.
Give it to me.
All right.
Give it to me straight.
I'll give it to you straight. You want to position yourself as a great team leader because you only have to be one step ahead to lead. I think people forget about that you only have to just be one step ahead to bring somebody else to that step as you're
Right.
stepping forward as well. So you're going to be doing that, staying in contact with your team members, knowing where to send them if and when they have questions, and familiarizing yourself with the tools and systems so you can get familiar with them as well. Now we're going to go through why those things are important because they foster duplication within your team. And that's important when you're wanting to achieve your goals, especially if you have rank goals in 4Life. If you're wanting to hit a certain rank, you have to help your team members hit their goals as well. So you achieve your goals when your team members achieve their goals. So let's go through how and why those three things foster duplication in your team. So you want to take the first one?
Sure. Okay, so staying in contact with your team members.
Mm-hmm.
This is showing them that they need to be doing the same with their team members
Mm-hmm.
and so on. So that is important. like staying in contact and making sure, they're following up and not like pressuring them, but just kind of like, leading them, because you were in the same place that they were not that long ago. So what steps they need to do and what helped you. So fostering that duplication within your team is helpful.
Yes, absolutely. And you're always setting an example for your team members.
Absolutely.
Every interaction you have with them is setting some sort of example that they should be doing with their team members.
Right.
So think of the type of leader, we've said this before, think of the type of leader that you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
What is a great leader to you? What things do a great leader do in your mind? Implement those things into your own actions towards your team. Make yourself a great leader, what you see as a great leader. So another thing, knowing where to send them if they have questions. So if you have a huge team and you've positioned yourself as the source of all knowledge, guess who everyone will come to when they have questions? Right. They're not going to come to their sponsor. They're not going to come to their enrollment, they're going to come to you and you alone. So if you have a whole bunch of people on your team, everybody's looking to you as a source of information, that is not a good recipe for
success.
Right. Success. It's not a good recipe for, people join this opportunity because they can see the power of leveraging. If 10 people in your team are giving 2 hours of their week, that's 20 hours that aren't being worked by you personally, that builds your business. Okay. So leveraging time is a big part of this opportunity. If you position yourself as a source of all knowledge, then you are not freeing yourself up to have those extra hours in your week. You're using all of that extra hour, all that extra time to answer everybody's questions and be the source of all knowledge. It's not going to get you far, in my opinion. You have to allow your team to become their own leaders.
Right.
That's how you achieve true residual income. Yeah.
Right.
So, okay, let's see. Oh yeah, a good point going off of that is if you're spending all of your time answering their questions and answering their team's questions and their team's questions and their team's questions, how much time are spent analyzing your goals and the goals of your team? The effort that's put forth to achieve those goals, the progress towards achieving those goals. There's no analyzing happening. There's only answering questions.
Right.
And analyzing your goals and seeing, how far have I come towards my goal? How far do I have to go? What things are working? What things aren't working? Oh, Jenny wanted to reach Builder Elite by the end of this month. Let me see where she's at and how I can help her. Oh, she has someone underneath of her that's new. There's a lot of things that you have to do as a team leader if you want to be successful, and positioning yourself as the knower of all is not going to help. So you need to know where to send your team when they have questions. Yep. So you're going to have to do the work to figure out where the answers to the questions are. Most of the time, the Facebook group, the YouTube channel, the portal, the DiamondsR4Life University. That's 4 places you can go to find answers to questions, to find tools and resources. If you are doing the work and looking at the resources that are available to you, eventually you're going to know the things that are available to you as a member of this team.
Right.
Yeah. So you want to familiarize yourself with the tools and systems so you can get familiar as well, because that shows them that they need to be doing that with their team as well. You always want to reiterate to your team members where they can find information and who their sponsor is when communicating with them, so they will eventually do this on their own and implement the same steps into their team. That's very important. So to summarize, here's the steps. Okay, so they're enrolled. What's next?
Introduce them to the Your upline.
Okay, you show them the Diamonds Are for Life portal and you get their portal set up. You can do this over Zoom, like a screen share. You can do it over the phone. You know, there's several different ways that you can do this. You can call them up and be like, hey, let's get your portal set up. I'm on this screen. What screen are you on? Go through each step with them. What's the next one?
Stay in contact with them. So find out what their goals are. And there's a goals timeline worksheet that Kate talks about all the time that Diamonds Are for Life made.
Yes.
You can text, tag them in a Facebook post. You can call them about any events that, like this meeting, you can tag them in it and be like, hey, you know, remember that there are some awesome meetings going on.
Right.
And then the next thing, remind them about the daily, weekly, monthly checklists. Very important so they can smooth out their day because it's going to be hectic when they're first starting.
Yes.
And then evaluate their progress towards their goals that week and month. So they know where they're falling behind or where they need to work a little bit harder so they can pinpoint
Right.
where they need to grow in an area, which is okay. We all need to grow
Right.
in areas. So.
And maybe they've overshot their, you know, like goals for that month. Maybe when they set that goal, you knew, I don't believe that we could achieve this. You know, I know a lot of people run into that.
Mhm.
People setting unrealistic goals. How you solve that problem is using the goals timeline. Because with the goals timeline, you break down the big goal. So if somebody sets an unrealistic goal, you could be like, great, we'll set that as your big goal. Let's break that down into some stepping stone goals so we can, you know, achieve all those little goals that lead up to this big goal. Okay, great, we have those laid out. Now let's focus on the effort we can put forth every day, every week to achieve those goals. Because the goal behind, or the concept behind the goals timeline is to be able to take your mind out of achieving the result and focusing on the effort you're putting forth.
Absolutely.
You can mark effort off a lot easier, a lot faster. You can see more progress when you're marking effort off versus marking results off.
Right.
And you still have results that you're marking off with those stepping stone goals, but that big goal, you really have to break that down. So that's one way to solve. If somebody is setting unrealistic goals, that's one way you can solve that and help them. Because by allowing them to set unrealistic goals, it can get them down. It can get them unmotivated about their progress because they're not making progress.
Right.
You know, if you set a goal that's a mile away, you can't see that goal. No matter if you take 15 or 20 steps, you still can't see the finish line. But if you set, you know, those markers, we're not going to call them mile markers because I said it's a mile away. So we're going to call them foot markers. So if you set a marker up every foot, then you'll be able to see that progress towards that goal a lot better.
Right.
Yeah, and you'll put more effort towards getting each marker. You know what I mean?
Right. Don't get discouraged. I think that's appropriate when you're talking about, like, you know, don't get down.
Yeah.
The last of the video, you're going to give them something empowering.
Right.
So they can set the tone for the week.
Right. Yeah.
So take it away. You are the motivator in this moment.
Ooh, okay, I'm ready. Okay, guys, here it is. Here's the hard part. Don't give up. I know that sounds crazy, but it's that simple. Don't give up. As long as you're trying, you're not failing. As long as you're learning, you're not failing. It's not truly failing until you give up.
Right.
So don't give up. That's why we have that goals timeline, because when people are focused on that result, they're never going to see that everyday progress. And it is every day. You have to reevaluate every single day, because at times you can be working hard and consistently, but there's also times where you wake up in the morning and you don't want to get out of bed. You struggle to get out of bed. You're not motivated to get out of bed. We all have days like that. Everybody has ups and downs, but you have to be patient with yourself. You're going to be working harder. You're going to be working consistently at times, but the key is to always keep moving towards your goals in meaningful ways. Don't give up. Realize, get that mindset right. And Shane and I did training last Thursday on the mindset that you should have to get rid of that stinking thinking. Okay, so if you want to get motivated, if you want to take yourself from where you're at right now and just propel yourself forward, it's all in the way you think. It's in the way you think about life. It's in the way you think about situations. It's in the way you think about struggles. You have the power in your mind to do anything. You just have to not give up.
Keep going. Keep it going.
Well,
Love this.
That's all I have.
Well, mic drop.
Don't let your emotions control your future, guys. Okay? Your future can be big and can be grand, but if you let your emotions control your future, you're probably not going to get anywhere. Your emotions go up and down, up and down, up and down, but keep your logic. Your logic can be steadfast.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's all I have.
I love that.
Thank you for clapping on me on the other end, for me on the other end, guys. We did a great job. That was a great meeting. All right, guys, I think the mouse has died. So we're going to have to do a little bit of improvising as far as ending the meeting goes.
So we're going to get on our feet.
We're going to shake out those bad feelings,
The jitters.
and we're going to see you guys next meeting.
Bye, guys.